Imagine for a moment that the invisible threads moving through your life, your willpower, your circumstances, and the very energy of the universe could be understood, mastered, and consciously directed by you. For centuries, humanity has been frightened by the shadows, believing in dark forces, superstitions, and external powers that dictate our fate. But true spiritual science teaches us something entirely different, something tremendously liberating. There is no power in darkness. Darkness is merely the absence of light. When you understand how the laws of the mind operate, you no longer fear the shadows of lack, limitation, or despair. You simply learn how to turn on the light of divine truth. This is not a message about dabbling in fear or mysticism. This is about claiming your absolute spiritual sovereignty. You are about to discover how the subtle laws of consciousness operate within the human psyche, and most importantly, how to take complete and unwavering control of your own thinking. This journey is for those who are ready to understand that true power does not reside in fighting the negative conditions of the world, but in the conscious, scientific application of the presence of God within. Let us begin the journey of true dominion. We have noticed that many of you watching are not yet subscribed. You can support this message of truth by clicking the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue sharing this light. Are you ready to transform your life? In the beginning, there is only the one presence and the one power in the universe, God the good, omnipotent. The first and most vital illusion you must overcome on the spiritual path is the belief in a universe divided against itself, the belief in a grand cosmic battle between good and evil. The universe operates through universal, entirely neutral laws. Consider the principle of electricity. Electricity is not moral or immoral, it is not good or evil. It simply operates according to its own fundamental nature. It can be used to light a home and bring warmth, or, if misunderstood, it can cause destruction. The energy of the universe is a pure field of infinite potential, and its direction in your life is entirely determined by the mind that directs it. If you spend your days fighting what you call evil or struggling against negative conditions, you are actually making them more real in your own experience. You are feeding them with your attention and your life force. The adept of spiritual truth understands what we call the law of substitution. You cannot simply empty your mind of a negative thought by fighting it. If you try to force a thought out of your mind, you only bind it closer to you. Instead, you must substitute it. You must deliberately replace the negative thought with a constructive, positive thought of God. You do not fight the dark, you simply introduce the light. When fear about your finances or health arises, you do not wrestle with the fear. You immediately turn your attention to the absolute abundance and perfect harmony of the divine mind. By doing this, you balance your consciousness and refuse to be swayed by the transient appearances of the outer world. You find the center of convergence, the peaceful, unshakable presence within. And from that neutral, balanced place, you project only good into your world. Ancient traditions and primitive understandings of religion placed great emphasis on physical sacrifice, vital fluids, and material offerings, believing that power somehow resided in the dense material of the world. But the advanced spiritual student knows that true vitality is the life principle of God flowing continuously through us. Your life force is a sacred vessel, a living, vibrating archive of your habitual thoughts, your deepest beliefs, and your emotional states. You do not need material rituals, complex ceremonies, or physical sacrifices to change your life. What you must change is the habitual, day-to-day state of your consciousness. When your mind is saturated with thoughts of peace, joy, and divine love, your very physical being becomes a transmitting station for healing and harmony. The life force within you responds exactly to the commands you give it through your feelings. You consecrate your life not through physical symbols, but by dedicating your daily thoughts and actions to the highest good. When you hold a state of absolute faith and goodwill toward all, your vitality becomes a living talisman. It alters your environment simply by the radiant quality of your spiritualized mind. You walk into a room, and without saying a single word, the atmosphere is lifted. This is because your life force has been attuned to the frequency of divine mind, acting as a conductor for spiritual power capable of transforming discord into perfect harmony. The Gospel of John tells us, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Language does not merely describe your reality, it constructs it. When you speak, you are setting immutable spiritual laws into motion. Every word you utter with feeling and deep conviction modifies the very fabric of your physical experience. Scientific prayer is the conscious mastery of this vibrational law. It is the realization that the words you use are the building blocks of your tomorrow. When you use the phrase I am, you are announcing the presence of God within you. You are speaking the name of the divine. Therefore, if you attach negative conditions to the I am, saying I am sick, I am poor, or I am afraid, you are misusing the supreme creative power of the universe. You are giving a false command to the law of your being. True spoken words are not empty recitations, nor are they hopeful wishes tossed into the void. They are absolute decrees of the soul. When you affirm the truth, you claim health, abundance, and peace as your divine right, and you must do so with your entire being. You do not beg a distant deity for a favor. You state a spiritual fact. You align your voice with the truth of divine mind. The universe is a matrix of divine intelligence, a perfect sounding board, and it listens and responds flawlessly to the word spoken in faith. Speak with precision. Affirm with authority. Let every syllable that emerges from your lips be a decree of the perfect, harmonious life that God intends for you to live. There is a vast, vital difference between your personal, egoic desires and the will of God for your life. The mortal mind, driven by the ego, is constantly striving, pushing, and attempting to force its desires upon the world. Personal desire is very often born of fear, a sense of lack, or the heavy social conditioning of the world around us. It is a human attempt to use willpower to bend circumstances. But human willpower is exhausting, fleeting, and ultimately leads to frustration. Beneath the surface soil of your ordinary, noisy thinking flows a secret river. This is your true, divine purpose. The will of God for you is always, without exception, harmony, peace, joy, perfect health, and true self-expression. When you stop striving and forcing things from the limited level of the human ego, and instead align yourself with this divine current, your life begins to flow with an elegant, frictionless grace. How do you find this secret river? You must surrender the human intellect's need to control every detail. When you are aligned with your true spiritual nature, doors open effortlessly. The right people appear at the exact right time. Resources flow to you naturally. This is not a miracle, it is the scientific, natural result of coming into quantum alignment with divine mind. You discover this divine current not by shouting your demands at the universe, but by quieting the human will and listening for the still small voice that guides you unerringly toward your highest good. True spiritual power is not found in emotional ecstasy, religious frenzy, or rigid, forceful concentration. It is found in the stillness. It is discovered in the quiet interval between your thoughts. The Bible beautifully refers to this as the secret place of the Most High. We often talk about liminal states, those transitional moments between waking and sleeping, or the pause between an inhalation and an exhalation. In spiritual practice, this liminal state is the silence. It is a quiet, profoundly peaceful state of mind where your body is completely relaxed, yet your consciousness remains perfectly alert and receptive to divine mind. You must learn to stop the frantic, anxious spinning of the intellect. When you sit in scientific prayer, you withdraw your attention from the problems and appearances of the outer world. In the quiet moments of your daily meditation, you consciously open the door to the superconscious mind. In this absolute silence, the rigid, frightening reality of your current circumstances becomes completely malleable. The divine pattern of perfection is impressed upon your soul, entirely rewriting the old, limited conditions of your life. It is in the silence that God speaks, and it is in the silence that your true manifestation is born. You must absolutely refuse to bow down to these collective errors. The race mind has no independent intelligence and no actual power. It only has the power you mistakenly grant it through your own belief. As a dedicated student of truth, your primary job is to build your own mental equivalent of the kingdom of heaven within your own consciousness. You must consciously, deliberately withdraw your attention from the panic and negativity of the world. Do not allow the global consciousness of lack to dictate your personal reality. Program your own consciousness with divine truth. Claim your spiritual independence. You are the architect of your own experience, the master of your own destiny. Do not let the fearful, collective sleepwalking of the world turn you into a servant of its limitations. You are not your physical body. You are a radiant, spiritual being expressing yourself through a physical vehicle. While some esoteric traditions seek complicated mystical practices to escape their bodies or travel to other planes, The true aim of spiritual science is to awaken your spiritual perception right here, right now, wherever you stand. True vision is the developed ability to look right past the dense, material appearances of illness, poverty, or interpersonal conflict, and perceive the underlying spiritual reality of absolute perfection. The physical senses only report the illusions of the mortal mind. Spiritual vision perceives the truth of God. When you elevate your consciousness to this level of true perception, you are entirely transcending the ordinary human limits of time and space. Because there is only one universal mind, you can send thoughts of healing, comfort, and perfect peace to someone across the globe, and they will receive it instantly. In divine mind, there is no distance, no separation, and no delay. You do not need to physically manipulate the outer world to enact change. You intervene in the physical world by first changing the spiritual cause within your own consciousness. Once the cause is corrected in the unseen realm of mind, the physical effect must obediently follow.